Hello everyone, B.O.B. here, and welcome to Survive and Thrive, episode 9. We're starting things off today on top of the creeper farm we built in the last episode, and I gotta tell you, it kind of feels weird. I've been playing Java for a couple weeks now, and being back on the PlayStation 4 edition, it's it might take a little bit of getting used to. Um, but I'm here because, well, as I said in the last episode, I want to build a sugarcane farm out here. So we have kind of our own little fireworks factory in this location. And one of the things I'm thinking is, I keep hearing creepers come in. Uh, one of the things I'm thinking is sending all the drops. Ooh, pufferfish. Oh. Sending all the drops directly to my little AFK hut up there. And I'm thinking not just the drops from the sugarcane, but the drops from the farm as well, the gunpowder farm. And, well, that's going to take some bubble tubes and some building, and right now I'm just kind of eyeballing it all so I can see exactly what all materials I'm going to need for this project. Okay, so I'm up here in my little AFK bunker, and I wanted to give you an idea of what I envisioned here. So basically, I'm going to have these two double chests here in the corner of the bunker. I'm going to have some hoppers feeding into these. I haven't quite worked out how I'm going to do this. I guess it'll probably be from the side of each of the chests. And from down here, I'll have the gunpowder sent into one chest, and it'll come up a bubble tube on one side of this, so it'll feed into the chest on the left side there, and then the sugarcane will feed into the chest on the right side there. So basically what I'm going to need, I guess, is, well, aside from just figuring out the spacing for everything, but I'm gonna need a whole bunch of glass, because I kind of want to be able to see through the bubble tubes. Maybe I'll break it up with like some smooth stone or something like that, so it's not gonna be all glass, but you'll be able to see, through sections of it. And then, of course, I'm gonna need a couple hoppers to collect everything. Basically, I'm gonna have to take a supply run back to HQ. Again, one of the first things I wanted to take a look at was the glass situation, because well, I didn't really think I had a lot of it, and I don't. Just a little under 3.5 stacks, and I feel like it's gonna take a whole lot more than that. So I'm probably gonna have to, go grind out some sand, get myself a whole bunch of sand, get it cooking up. But this is basically the idea of the sugarcane farm I'm gonna build, but it's gonna be a lot longer. Now, in order to do that, I'm gonna have water streams that basically feed into other water streams. So I'm not going to want to make this the entire 8 blocks of the water stream. Otherwise, if they land in this last spot, they might not have enough momentum to shoot across this dry block into another water stream. So I think I'm going to make each of these maybe about 6 blocks long, and then there'll be several 6-block sections of the farm leading up to the water stream that's eventually going to send all the sugarcane up into that AFK bunker that I have built. One good thing is how incredibly satisfying it is to gather lots of sand, and you can do it really quick in this game. If you got a decent shovel, then this ain't a bad grind at all. Something I've been thinking about is, instead of making this exact design, making a lossless design where we could use a hopper minecart underneath the sand to collect the drops. And so we can basically trap the sugarcane in this 1-block spot. Everything will fall down basically right where it is. A hopper minecart will go underneath the sand and collect everything that drops. This way we're not relying on water streams to collect the sugarcane. We'll just use water streams to send the gunpowder. I don't know. It might make things a little more complicated, but at the same time, I'm thinking a farm at least 24 plants long, and so if we get a lot of stuff backed up on blocks, like you see with the bamboo farm here, well, I don't know. I feel like that could cause a lot of lag if there's a bunch of entities, you know, if I decide to AFK in that location. So, yeah, I'm thinking maybe a lossless design might be a better idea for this project. Okay, this is looking a little bit more like it for the glass. I'm still not entirely sure this is gonna be enough, but it's taking an annoyingly long time to smelt it all. I don't think this little auto smelter is gonna cut it. I think I see a super smelter coming in our near future. Now, simply because I feel like it's gonna help me decide where I want to place the sugarcane farm, I think I'm gonna first build the pathway for the gunpowder to be sent up here. Uh, so I'm gonna head on over here and get myself some ice. But looking at this height, Uh, I'm still not sure I brought enough glass. I guess I'll just get to work on it and see how it ends up. Ice is also very satisfying to collect. Oh, yes. Said it in the last episode. It doesn't really matter where you are. They'll find you. They'll find you. Alright, so what I have here is a little auto dropper situation. Basically anything, well, let me show you. You got this comparator comparing a signal from this dropper. That comparator's in subtract mode. It's feeding into this block. This repeater will take a signal from that block, send it back into the side of the comparator as well as back into the dropper. So anything that goes into this dropper is going to automatically get spat right back out. So all I'll have to do is, well, stick a hopper feeding into this right underneath that chest, and that'll send things down this ice path, which I'm just now getting started on. So I got our packed ice path down there in place, as well as our bubble tube here. A few things you might want to make note of in case you plan on doing something like this yourself. Of course, bubble tubes, you need water sources throughout the entire tube. Every block needs to be a water source. So, I mean, it would be painful to do it with one bucket at a time. So you could do one bucket on the top block and then one bucket of water on the bottom block and then grow kelp up through the tube. That'll help you produce your water sources through it. Or like I did, I just used some regular ice and placed it all the way up the tube, then broke it all the way back down. Problem solved. Another issue you might run into is, well, when they reach the top of a bubble tube, an item reaches the top of a bubble tube, sometimes it'll just bounce in place even if it's a flowing stream at the top. So you can see I got this sign here, and that's causing a 1 block gap, and then a second flowing water stream above that sign is going to redirect all the items. This way nothing's getting stuck and everything should go into that hopper. I think our path is ready to go. I've covered up the ice path so that way the gunpowder isn't bouncing up out of the water streams or whatever it may be. And there's no oddball stuff falling in there, so we should only be getting gunpowder in our chest. And being that I've been up here working this whole time, well, we've developed a little collection of gunpowder, so we're going to get to see this thing in action pretty much right away. All I have to do, well, if I can get over here, come over here, I'm going to crouch place this hopper feeding directly into this dropper, and that should activate it. There it goes. I don't really want to stand right here because I'll probably end up picking it up. What I do want to see is it coming to the top. Oh, you can see it going all the way up the tube. Yeah, look at all that gunpowder coming in. That's awesome. Alright, let's go up here. Make sure it's all going into our chest. Yeah, it's coming. There was a lot more in that. Okay. Okay, it's coming. A little bit slow, but it's coming. That works. So the beginning of this next clip got cut off. You know, technical difficulties. My bad. To summarize, I've started building the sugarcane farm. And these blocks on the side, at least the top layer, are only going to be temporary until I can get all the sand and everything put in. As you see, we got our track going down underneath the sand. And I'll use the signal that triggers the pistons to send this cart. It'll go underneath all the sand, go to the other side, and come back because I have some powered rails. And I used redstone blocks on either end to power those rails because, well, it's underwater. I didn't really have a whole lot of options. Also, because it's underwater, I had to do a different sort of auto dropper system. So we have our dropper right here, and this is going to be our bubble tube. And you see the droppers facing directly into said bubble tube. But I couldn't do all like the redstone unless I wanted to build a big platform, you know. So I actually used observers. We have a little observer clock here that's kind of split up. And oh, I hear another drown. Oh, there he is. Hey, I'm trying to do an explanation here. I'm gonna die. Anyway, as I was saying before I was rudely interrupted by some drown, yeah, I have that dropper in there facing where the bubble tube is going to go. I got a comparator comparing a signal from that dropper and feeding into this block. And right beneath that block, there's a little dash of redstone dust on top of another block. That dash of redstone dust is going to power this piston, which will push this observer out underneath that observer. And then that's going to send well, it's going to trigger a clock, the observer clock, and send that signal back up into the dropper. So yeah, just another way to build an auto dropper, and you know, it's a way of working underneath the water because, you know, the observers can still work there. I don't have to worry about dust or anything, you know, washing away. Alright, I think I got this all set up here. Well, at least the harvesting part of it. See, we got our pistons in place as well as our observers on top of those pistons. And yeah, we got mobs spawning in here because it's dark and I haven't finished planting and lighting everything up just yet, but basically the idea is there's 22 pistons here, so it'll be 22 plants instead of the 24 I initially said. But halfway we have a repeater pulling a signal from the block here, and that signal is being sent all the way down here. And you see I had to put in another repeater because it went a bit far. But that's being fed directly into this block, which should power the rail underneath that hopper minecart. It'll also trigger the dropper that's underneath that block, but that doesn't really matter since nothing should be staying inside that block or that dropper anyway. So from this point, as it should be, if any one of these observers receive an update, it should send that minecart on its way. Oh, it does, but it's not a long enough signal. Perhaps, perhaps if I just add a little bit of delay to this, it will extend that signal. Let's give that a try. We'll just do a 4-tick delay there. And now. That seemed to do it. Indeed. Alright, harvest system is in place. Now, I'm going to have to build up the glass walls a little bit higher so we're not getting stuff popping up on top of the walls or over the walls. I'm probably even going to put glass on top of these. Then I'll put torches all along the outside of it so we don't get mobs spawning in our sugarcane, although I'm not sure if that's really possible. Yeah, plant our sugarcane in along in here, and well, we still got to build the bubble tube. Maybe I'm gonna do that part first, cause yeah, it can be a bit of a pain. Right, I think it is all set up. I went ahead and put in all the sugarcane, and I closed in the area in which it grows, so that way it's not, popping out. And just to give her a little test run, I made up some bone meal here. I'm gonna bone meal this first plant. And it sends the cart. Cart drops it off, sends it up. That's awesome. That's gonna work great. Now one thing is, like if it's this plant down here, it's not gonna trigger all these pistons. Not all of them. I mean, the signal only travels 15 blocks, so I mean, that's sort of an issue, but not really, because, I mean, whenever a plant down here grows to that length, well, then it'll trigger this group of pistons down here. But the important thing is no matter what observer is triggered, this repeater should collect the signal and send it to the cart, so that way the items are getting collected. I might go ahead and just put torches on top of these observers for the sake of keeping everything well lit. I don't really think there's any spot for mobs to spawn now. I don't think they can spawn on top of observers. I know they can't spawn on the redstone dust or on the repeaters. They might be able to spawn on observers. I'm not entirely sure. But this should be good to go, and I brought just enough glass apparently. I'm down to my last 4 pieces, so this actually worked out pretty well. Oh, look at all the drown down here. Oh boy. But there we go. Sugarcane farm up and running. Not quite as big as I initially intended it to be, but I think it's going to be enough to keep us in stock. Plus, we got another sugarcane farm back at HQ, so in the meantime, I might just go ahead and AFK here for a little while and see how fast the drops flow in. Alright, I've been AFK here for, well, give or take about a half hour, and right before I did, I cleared out both these chests because I want to make sure that both farms are producing roughly the same amount. And it looks like the gunpowder's coming in just a tad faster, but then again, the sugarcane comes in larger groups, so maybe by the next, batch of sugarcane that comes up, it might actually catch up to the gunpowder. But, I mean, they're pretty close. So, well, that gunpowder just keeps coming and the sugarcane's not. But I think this is a success. I may want to extend the sugarcane farm. I don't know. I think this is probably going to work for now. One issue that I'm kind of having is, well, you can see there's sugarcane sitting on those sand blocks, and that just should not be. I'm not sure why they wouldn't have gotten picked up by the minecart. Maybe I'm just too far away up there in the AFK hut, but doesn't really make sense because I have seen some come in as I was sitting up there, so I'm not really sure why there would be any sitting down here on the sand. I might just watch it for a few and see if I can come to any conclusions. Well, I did watch it long enough to see the next harvest, and the minecart went under the sand, picked everything up, and brought it back without a hitch. But the items that were sitting here when I first flew down, they actually sat there long enough to despawn. See, we still have an issue where things aren't being picked up. I'm not exactly sure why that is. That could be a bit of a problem. Maybe I can figure out some sort of solution to that. And so I came back up here to the bunker, just to see where we're at in the chest, and we're still looking at the sugarcane being about 10 pieces behind the gunpowder, and I don't think that would be the case if everything in the sugarcane was getting picked up the way it's supposed to. I still can't quite figure out why it isn't. And unfortunately, that's something I'm going to have to figure out off camera because I am all out of time for today. If you enjoyed this episode, please remember to hit that like button. And if you are interested in seeing more from me, please remember to hit that subscribe button. I want to thank each and every one of you for watching and wish you all a wonderful day.